So we're going to start with 11-1 area of parallelograms and triangles. And we're going to just work on parallelograms right now. So on your orange sheet, the first column, first one, it says parallelograms, and your formula is B times H. B stands for base, H stands for height. And you will notice that sometimes your height is inside the figure and sometimes it is outside the figure. So for a parallelogram, area equals base times height. So what I'm going to do on our notes is I'm going to highlight all of our bases and all of our heights. So I'm going to do all of the bases in blue. And all of the heights in pink. Make it a little easier for us to identify our base and our height. And it's really important to notice that your base and height are going to form a 90-degree angle. They are perpendicular. Also on your notes, what I want you to do here, it has room for your formula. Area equals base times height. So you're going to want to write that down. So let's take a look at this first one. I'm looking at this 90-degree angle here. This 90 forms where it has that like dotted line. That 5 is my height. This here is my base. So 5 is my height. My base is the same as it is on the opposite side. So if this side's 10, my base is also going to be 10. So remember, parallelograms' opposite sides are congruent. So the directions ask me to find the perimeter and the area. So perimeter is just the outside. So I'm going to add 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4. Which is 28. And my units is inches. My area is base times height. My base is 10. My height is 5. So it is going to be 50, and now it's going to be units squared. Area is units squared, or square units. Let's move on to the next one. If you notice here, my base, I'm not looking at that 8, I'm going to look at the whole thing, which will be 21, is given to me, but my height is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up and look at this as a right triangle. And I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem in order to find what that height is. So that's why that 8 is there, because I'm going to use the 8 and the 17. So I'm going to call it H for height. Height squared plus 8 squared equals 17 squared. I'm going to subtract 64 to both sides. I'm going to take the square root of 225. And I get that my height is 15. So 15 is going to be my height. So when I do my perimeter, I'm going to add 21 plus 17 plus 21 plus 17. Which is 76. my area is base times height, 21 times 15, which is 315. The next problem, I again have my base and I have my height. So I'm all set for area, but when I do perimeter, because we're finding the perimeter of the shaded figure, I don't know what these two slanted sides are. So I have to use Pythagorean theorem to find what this side will be. So I'm going to use this white triangle out here, which is not part of my parallelogram. So 25 there. So now I'm set for perimeter. For my perimeter, I'm going to add 25 plus 23 plus 25 plus 23. You can even just add 25 and 23 and then multiply that by 2. You get 96. My area is my base times my height, which is 552. So now we're going to try some new ones, except if you notice, we're going to go back to chapter 8 where we have 45, 45, 90 triangles. It's called special right triangles. So I'm going to redraw this triangle because in this problem, again, I have my base, but I do not know what my height is. So I'm going to redraw this triangle right here. I know my hypotenuse is 8.5. So if you remember from 45, 45, 90 triangles, my sides are x, x, x root 2. So I have this right here. I have that 8.5 is x root 2. So I'm going to take that out over here. So in order to get x alone, I'm going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. And I know that we talked about we can't have a square root in the denominator, but for this problem, I just want a number. So I'm going to let you put 8.5 divided by the square root of 2 into your calculators, and we get 6.0 or 6. And I'm going to let you just write that x equals 6. So going back to my problem, this side 6, this side 6. We don't really need to know this side, but we need to know that my height is equal to 6. So now we can find our area. Area equals my base times my height, which is going to be 90. So let's try another one. Again, we have the whole base, because it's just going to be 17, but we don't have my height. So I'm going to look at this as a 45, 45, 90 triangle. And we know that this side is 9. So if you remember again, it's x, x, x root 2. We know that x equals 9. So I don't really need to know x root 2. I just need to know that my height is also going to be 9. Oops, I wrote B. I meant H. My height is 9. My base is 17. This one was a little bit easier. So when I go to find my area, my base is 17. My height is 9. 17 times 9 is 153. All right, last one like this. We have my entire base, which will be the same as the top. 32. We don't know my height. So we have now 30, 60, 90 triangle. And we know this is 12. So if you remember 30, 60, across from the 30 is x. Across from the 60 is x root 3. Across from the 90 is 2x. So we again have x. X is going to be 12. I don't need my hypotenuse because we're not finding perimeter here. So if x is 12, my height is going to be x, or 12, root 3. So my area is my base times my height. I'll show this to you in a calculator. My base is 32. My height is 12, square root of 3. And I get 665.1. So we're going to skip over triangles for right now. We're going to flip to the back and we're going to do these two problems because those are also parallelograms. So now I tell you what my area is. I give you the base. but we do not know what the height is. So we need to solve for the height. So I like to write my formula. Area equals base times height. My area is 153. My base is 9. And my height is x. So all I'm going to do is divide both sides by 9 to get that 17 is x. If you want to plug it back in, 9 times 17, and you will get 153. Let's try the next one. My base is 8. My height is x again. So I'm going to do the same thing. Area equals base times height. My area is 148. My base is 8. My height is x. Divide both sides by 8. And I get 18.5 equals x. Again, you can plug it in. 8 times 18.5, you'll get 148.